So this is the first of our series where we're going to be recapping our characters throughout seasons 1 and 2, making some comparisons to books and things like that. But mostly we're going to be focusing on theories for where these characters are going, mostly focusing on 3 and 4. So Crystal and I are going to dive into where each of our favorite characters will start and finish season 3. Let's see what future me and Crystal think about Nynaeve Almira.
Welcome to Dragonmount. I am Crystal.
Yep. And I'm Thom. And today we're going to be talking about where we think Nynaeve Almira is going to be in season 3 of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. But first, we have to thank our sponsors, Tor Books, for sponsoring our lovely show, as well as Dragonmount, just in general. They are fantastic. Obviously, Tor Books, if you like Wheel of Time, you should go check out some other Tor authors as well. Particularly Jared Pekacek, who wrote A West Passage. You can find my review of that and my interview with Jared Pekacek in the Dragonmount YouTubes. And obviously all of our people that still support us over on our Patreon. Thank you so much. It's fantastic. And the best way you can support the show is just by liking and sharing and subscribing and sharing it with people that you also think will like and subscribe and all of those things. Where is Nynaeve right now? Like, where is she at the end of season 2?
So we see all of the Emmonsfield 5. They are on top of the building in Falm with plus Elaine, actually, with the giant flaming dragon.
Okay.
I think those are our last moments.
Wait, hold on. With the giant what?
Flaming dragon.
Flaming dragon.
Okay, flaming dragon. Face.
Yeah. So at the end, and just to throw in there, Avienda also called Rand the Ka-Karn at that point. So now she believes he's the Ka-Karn. So this is a good point where we can mention how this is going to be a pretty spoilerly filled episode up to and including book 4.
Yeah. So
right?
Books 1 through 4, and then season 1 and season 2 with theories for season 3.
Yeah. If we mention anything that's going to be past book 4, we'll give like a warning or something, but I don't think we'll mention anything that's going to be past book 4.
We'll try not to.
Yeah, we'll be good. I promise. Like, there's an editor here, so we could probably get it right. Maybe. It'll be our fault if we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So just before, though, she's on the actually moments before they're standing at the edge of that tower, Elaine is healing Rand because she can't heal him.
Yeah, no. And then, she had not been able to heal Elaine just right before that.
Yeah. And then right before that, she was leashed to, I forgot the Suldam's name, but she was leashed to the Suldam when she died.
Well, and then what about her letting Rima be captured?
But we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Like, we're going to list her traumas in season 2 later. Let's talk about what do we think is going to be a real focus in her season 3 arc?
I think there's a few things. I think hunting the Black Aja is going to be a big one. I mean, we know that was big in the books too. Yeah,
in book 2 and 3, and really just like all the way up until like they're fully realized characters later on in the book. But the biggest thing for her specifically is probably going to be her block, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that in the show they've explored, but we haven't seen as much as we had seen up to this point in the books from her with her block. It was much more apparent in the books.
Yeah, definitely. Like they had so much more time, obviously, to explore it and give instances where her block presented like a challenge for her in a certain situation. So like where they haven't had obviously that time now.
Yeah, I feel like we saw a lot more scenarios and situations where she was able to overcome it. We only have a few examples of that in the show so far.
Yeah. And also now specific examples of when we think she should have been able to overcome it as per how her block works, but couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and this is a spoiler for book 3. So in book 3, as we mentioned, the hunt for the Black Aja, she goes back to the White Tower, which is really just she goes back to the White Tower. She's going to hunt the Black Aja, and then they go out to hunt the Black Aja. So obviously they're going to be combining book 3 and 4, or at least a lot of parts of them, like lots of instances of them. Like I don't think we're going to get the full book 4 arc on. Bilal isn't even a character, or at least probably isn't. No, he's not. Bilal isn't a character. He doesn't appear in it, so we're not going to get that whole arc there and him being kind of unceremoniously killed by Maureen. Like, it's pretty significant because she uses balefire, but like it happens so quick. Like it's just like there's not like a real fight or anything like that. It's just like compared to the other things that we see throughout, in the what's it called? The culmination? No, what's the word I'm looking for? The end of the thing. There's a beginning, middle, and end, and the end is
finale. I don't know what word you're looking for.
Yeah, sure. It's not the normal big finale that we usually get at the end of a Wheel of Time book, where it's like huge fight. Oh yeah, we're not going to spoil. Big giant fight or big giant thing happens. Like something immense changes the world or in some way. Like that's not what happens at the end of book 3. It's just kind of Maureen killing Bilal kind of really quickly, and then Ren gets the sword. So a lot of the stuff that happens because of that happens at the beginning of book 4, right? Like we see all the instances in the Stone of Tyr and all that kind of stuff in book 4. So obviously, since they're going to be going to the waste, also we know that they're going to have to cut a lot of that and combine a lot of that. So
in book 3, she's gone back to the White Tower. Originally, Suan just wants to send Nynaeve and Egwene to hunt the Black Aja, and she doesn't want to include Elaine because Mommy's mad that Elaine was out of the tower for so long, and we couldn't, they didn't know where she was. But we know that all 3 girls end up being sent to hunt the Black Aja, and there's all kinds of drama. They leave to go hunt them, and they're killed. Is the Gray Man in the tower? Does that almost happen in the tower?
Yeah, they almost get killed by the Gray Man in the tower. Yeah,
that almost happens in the tower. And then I think on their travels, they are nearly sold to a Fade. At one point, they're captured. They're nearly sold to a Fade.
The fourth, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. They're betrayed by a friend. They end up captured by the Black Aja, and then comes the confrontation. Right?
Yeah, and when they go back to or when they're on their way back to the tower, Thom and Julian are with them, and Matt.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
that. They run into the White Cloaks too.
It's a very dramatic trip that they take.
Yeah. So this could be a good opportunity for Thom to come back. Like that'll be for that. I guess that'll be another one of our videos. Like this is a panel for another time, like we usually talk about. But she could, we could get a Thom coming back. Julian, they meet in Tyr, but they could put him anywhere. And
do we have a confirmed character for him? Do we know?
No. No, there's no one announced for Thom yet. I mean, no one announced for Julian yet.
Yeah.
But the other major change here is going to be, so like, since we know they're going to the waste, Egwene is definitely, like, obviously Egwene's going to do her waste arc.
Yeah,
like she's not going to not go back to the waste. Yeah,
right.
That would be ridiculous. So if Elaine and Nynaeve return to the tower, it's not going to be with Egwene.
True.
So do we Elaine, where okay, so if they do return to the tower, it's not going to be with Egwene. It's going to be just Elaine and Nynaeve. But do they need to return to the tower? Because the Amyrlin seat, the entire hall, and a ton of Aes Sedai are in Cairhien, which is on the way to the waste.
That's true. See, this is what's always bothered me, is how they're going to get to the waste, because that was such a part of the prophecy of the dragon, the Stone of Tyr. Like, that's how they knew the Karakarn. But he's already been, Avienda's already said he's the Karakarn. So, yeah, maybe they don't even go back to the White Tower.
Yeah, they might, like, Nynaeve and Elaine may not even need to return to the White Tower if they can meet up with the Amyrlin and get the quest to hunt the Black Aja at another point somewhere in their travel. like they could get intercepted on the way to the waste, and then Elaine and Nynaeve were like, all right, I guess we'll go do this thing. You guys have to go that way. But
Interesting.
I think they're gonna separate in the sense of, but Egwene is gonna be like, no, I'm going with Rand to the waste, and Elaine and Nynaeve are like, well, we'll go back to the tower, and then they'll get their Black Aja journey, orders or whatever. Okay, so that's book 3. Book 4 is really just her and Elaine in Tanchico. They're the entire.
She's really not in book 4 a lot. She's kind of she kind of bookends the story a little bit. I'm just now rereading Shadow Rising, and so she kind of bookends that story.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and it's the end of that book. Speaking of, is it's a pretty big deal. Like that's like her defeating Moghedien is that's a pretty great ending there.
Yeah,
still blocked in the book.
Yes, true. I hope we get to see that.
To see that on screen is going to be awesome.
I know, especially because the actress who plays Moghedien is so incredible, and obviously, Nynaeve as well.
Super duper creepy too.
Yes, she has the best creepy eyes.
Oh yeah. She's the way she smiles, and like there's a scene where she's like smelling Lanfear after she captures her. Yeah, it's weird.
That is so invasive. Someone just coming up and smelling you,
and you can't move, like because she had Lanfear
in the
trapped or whatever in the web, which is like, so we know Moghedien isn't stronger than Lanfear, so it just seems like Batman, if you give Moghedien time to prepare, she's going to win. It seems that's what it seems like is going to happen. She wins the fight. Batman. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and then she disappears at the end of that. Like she just is poof and gone. That's a total Batman thing. So Moghedien is now Batman.
So as we know, Nynaeve's block goes on much longer in the books, but Moghedien is still kind of a pivotal part of that. She's a piece of that for Nynaeve. Do we think that perhaps Nynaeve's block disappears sooner in the show?
Well, especially because like she seems more blocked now. Like when she couldn't heal Elaine, and when she she couldn't heal Rand, those were 2 instances where you think her block would have kicked in, or like the trigger would have
because it was always tied to her emotion and her like desire to absolutely
to especially like someone who she's bonded with over the course of however long, weeks at this point, with Elaine, has just been shot with a crossbow by a White Cloak. Rand, her pseudo brother, son, friend, is dying from magic stab wounds. There's a Forsaken shooting fireballs at them. Like in that, if anything was going to trigger it, it would have been that, and it still doesn't happen. So it feels like her block is like stronger at this point. So for her to be fighting Moghedien at the end of season 3, or by the end of season 3, you would think either she has to have some movement with getting past her block, or it be gone entirely.
Yeah, that's I like that. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't want it to be gone, and like, unless like we can't really go into the reasons why yet.
You know how I feel about that scene in the books. It is
I hope
one of my favorites. It's like top 10 of favorite scenes in the books. So,
and so much would need to happen for that scene to play out even in a similar fashion to how it played out in the book. They have to meet an entire society of people. There's so many things that need to happen.
Okay, but maybe I feel like in the books, Nynaeve knew what it took for her to overcome her block. Like she knew she had to get angry. She had to have the powerful emotion. They haven't really explicitly said that in the show. They've shown it a little bit in that scene with Leandrin, where like, obviously her being angry makes her strong, but maybe she doesn't have a lot of like the self-awareness yet of what her block is. And maybe that's what she gets from Moghedien, is like this self-awareness that she,
Well, Rima also kind of teaches her right before she gets her captured, which is a great time to list all of the horrible things that happened to her, like we mentioned before. But one of them is, there's this great scene when they're trying to channel into an Adam and like figure out how to open it and stuff. And Elaine and Rima are both channeling into it. And then Rima turns to Nynaeve and says, we need some more power. You do it too, but don't use too much power because we don't want to alert the Shanshan. And she tries and says she can't. And then Rima says to her, like, you're thinking too much, or stop thinking, or stop trying. It's the same as when a patient comes to you. You don't decide to heal them or decide to help them. You just do it. So basically, she said, "There's no try, only do." And then she's able to channel, but like clumsily. Like she doesn't produce the same weave that they are, and it's way too powerful, and it's super surge into the thing. And then the next time we see them, the Shanshan are coming. Rima's warder gets killed. Rima gets captured, which 1000% is going to be something that is hanging over Nynaeve's head throughout season 3. She's going to be blaming herself for that. The other characters are going to be telling her is it her fault, but she's going to be blaming herself for that throughout the entire season, probably.
Oh yeah, because she's always felt just a responsibility to be able to do something in a situation and be able to help people, and so that's going to eat away at her that she did nothing.
Okay, so what else will be hanging over her head? So she was, let's see, she was ripped out of her home.
Almost eaten by a Trolloc.
Right. Almost eaten by the Trolloc. Forgot about that. She did have like a great fight scene with the Trolloc where she screamed in its face. That was pretty fantastic. She had to trek all over the place, finding her, villagers that she was in charge of because she was still very wisdom-y at that point. And then she died.
She died.
Yeah, well, like whatever that end of season 1 was. Like, obviously season 1 is riddled with all sorts of issues and stuff like that. I blame it all on COVID, and I give them full benefit of the doubt, though still kind of a weird scene, even if COVID didn't happen. But
it was strange.
We'll just kind of gloss over that. We could just put that in the tall grass a little bit. But she died a little bit.
Quote unquote died.
Yeah. But then season 2, that's season 1. So then season 2.
So that's where she goes through the arches.
Right. She loses her baby.
Oh, yeah, that was gut wrenching.
Oh, yeah. She also channels in the arches, which they say is bad for you, but like I don't know if that's.
You're not supposed to be able to do that. Like they're not supposed to work that way. You're not supposed to remember that you can even do that. Yeah.
And then she kind of like her and Leandrin kind of bond a little bit, and then she's like, maybe I'll choose red. And then that gets kiboshed quickly, and Leandrin betrays her, and then all that.
Yep. So then Egwene gets leashed, and that's the way that Nynaeve failed her. One of her original charges.
Yep. And then she basically gets Rima leashed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like she's gonna blame her. I don't think that she got really, but she's gonna blame herself. Obviously, she's gonna blame herself for that, or at least that's what I think she's gonna blame herself for that.
Oh, absolutely. Then she can't heal Elaine. She can't help Elaine.
Yeah, but don't forget, right before she can't heal Elaine, like literally the scene before Elaine gets shot with the crossbow bolt, the Suldam that they captured to take that outfit is shot in an arrow while she's connected to her.
This woman is gonna have some PTSD. This is awful.
Like she literally walked that Suldam into the courtyard, and then moments after she forced her to walk into the courtyard and is holding her leash to make her completely helpless, is killed. She's definitely gonna blame herself for that too.
That's awful. And then can't heal Rand. Can't heal Rand.
Yeah. And then it just ends with her not being able to help Rand while being attacked by a shadow spawn. So I didn't
realize that her story was so traumatic until you listed out like that.
I'm saying like some horrible shit has happened to her. And one of the things that I really liked about the Wheel of Time books in general is that they deal with trauma in a pretty good way for the most part. Like the characters are affected by their actions. It's not like some stories where like the hero comes into things, has horrible things happen to them or around them or because of them, and it's just completely unaffected by them.
Well, and I always like to remember when these books were originally written, how progressive those thoughts were at that time. Yeah. It may not feel progressive now, but for when these books were originally written, it was wildly progressive.
Oh yeah, I think it's still a lot of it is still wildly progressive for now too. Like even just in that sense of like depicting trauma appropriately.
Yeah.
But the last time we see her channel is when she channels into the Adam. I think that's the last time we see her channel, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she even needs to have Elaine help her open and close the Adam later when they put it on the Suldam. So it's like and then she can't channel at all when Elaine is killed. When Elaine is shot by the White Cloak, and can't channel at all after Rand is stabbed. So I think that's going to be a major thing in the early parts of season 3.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So I think just kind of like, where do we think she's going? What do we think, like, her overarching arc? We pick up, we've just left them, they're on top of the tower. Like, what's next? Where are we going?
So like let's clean up all that nonsense and put
all
it in
the
a
nonsense.
concise. Okay,
how do we make it a nice arc? So they're all together. The Fields 5, Elaine, they're all together. Giant flaming dragon is all together. Now what? What are we doing?
So they have to leave Thom. And so they have to leave Thom. They're gonna leave. They're probably gonna leave together ish. So like either they leave Thom together and are stopped at some point in between the Waste and Thom, and one group splits off from the other group to go in 2 different directions, or they split right from Thom. So like one of the other big arcs one of the other big story points in book 3 is when Matt accompanies them back to the tower, and then he has his fight with Galad and Gowan, but he also goes to the Waste with Rand. So, and that's when he goes through the stone Terangrial and gets hung and everything. So like,
right.
Wow, that's Matt's character thing is gonna be crazy. Matt's character recap is gonna be nuts, because there's so much that they have
especially because of what happened IRL that they had to change.
Oh man. Anyway, okay. So do we think that they're gonna leave? I'm not sure when they're gonna split, but to be honest with you, I don't think they're gonna make it back to the White Tower. I think they're gonna be intercepted by the Amyrlin Seat in her travel back. Or either in Cairhien, or while she's traveling back to the White Tower from Cairhien, or maybe she is purposely intercepting the group instead of going directly back to the White Tower.
That, like, Moraine, so this has all happened. He's been proclaimed the dragon publicly. Does Moraine try to take him to Cairhien? Like, is she the catalyst for, okay, guys, now this is our next step? No,
because she just attacked Swan and took Rand and left. Like, she's not going to purposely go back.
I know.
Yeah. So, but that also means the group is not going to want to intercept with Swan if she's coming back in the other direction. So there's a lot of implication there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they could travel by Waygate because they know how to travel the ways. Maureen knows how to open and close them. And there is a Waygate that they know where it is. It's not far from Thom. I don't see them introducing portal stones this late.
No.
But I do think Nynaeve is not going to go back with the goat. I do think Nynaeve isn't going to be part of the group that goes to the Waste. She's going to split off somehow, either going back to the White Tower or at some point in between traveling from Thom to wherever they're heading after they leave Thom, get intercepted, get her mission to hunt the Black Aja.
Yeah.
And do you think we get the battle with Moghedien in season 3?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. They played her up far too much at the end of the season for us not to see more of her. And that is her Moghedien's pivotal moment in book 4 in Shadow Rising is this, this fight. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's the end of the season, towards the end of season 3, but
yeah, it could either be just juxtaposed with whatever Rand is doing in Ruidian, or they could even not do the Ruidian stuff with Rand, just have him make it to Ruidian and, do all the other Aiel stuff that he does in, when he first gets to the Waste. Because there's a lot of stuff that they can do prior to him actually going into Ruidian. They could start next season 4 with Ruidian.
I hope I don't have to wait that long, but yeah.
So we definitely think she'll be tanning in Tanchico at some point,
Yes.
and then fighting Moghedien by the end of season 3. I hope so. I think that's going to be great, especially because they played up Moghedien in such a way, like we saw Lanfear, how powerful Lanfear is. She
exploded heads. She went like this, exploded heads.
But also tore apart freaking Kyrian.
Yeah.
We had that scene of her tearing apart Kyrian, and then within one episode, strung up essentially by Moghedien easily, and terrified by her. Like
the look on her face. Yeah, no, it was. She was scared. She was screwed.
Oh yeah. So the fact that they did that with Moghedien, that will make Nynaeve besting her, hopefully in season 3, all the more sweeter. So she's gonna leave, split from the group at some point with Elaine. They're gonna hunt the Black Aja. We'll probably get some Black Aja hijinks. So she gets fork rooted, I guess, by Rhonda. Rhonda, I don't know, Mrs. Makura. In book 3. What else happens in book 3 to 4 with the Black Aja hijinks that they get up to?
Well, that's when Julian, that's when he's under compulsion, but he betrays them and kind of sells them to the Black Aja through her.
Oh, right. Yeah. So and then are we going to have Julian? Are we going to have Thom? Thom and Julian accompany her and Elaine to Tanchico. So there's that whole dynamic. Is she going to meet Eganin or Shipless or whatever her name is in Tanchico? These are all great questions. I mean, like, we have the ability for her to meet up with her in Tanchico because the Shanshan were defeated, and I'm sure there'll be people around. Yeah. You know, they could run into Thom in Tanchico. Maybe he's in Tanchico instead of outside of Kyrian. Like, there's the possibility of that. Julian would have to be, I feel like, is wedging too much into that, though, because, I mean, they could meet him. He could just be, like an eyes and ears for Maureen, and that could be a tie for Tyr for, later seasons or something. Julian can bring them back there. But whatever happens, we're hoping it definitely ends with the
Moghedien.
Yeah, with the Moghedien fight, definitely. Like, I want to see her fight Mogi in oh man, that museum will be really cool to see too if we actually see the museum. Oh man, are we going to see a Tyrannosaurus skeleton?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be
or a whale skeleton or a Mercedes. Are we going to see the Mercedes symbol? Let us know if you think we're going to see the Mercedes symbol. That would be cool. I hope we see it. I'm really hoping we see something in the museum, and even if it's just in the background for half a second, that's like obviously something from not their age, like something that looks like techie, wise, or something that's like, oh, what is this hunk of not metal and blah 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 plastic? That's what I'm hoping for. Something crazy like that, just in the background, just a one-off little thing, a little nod to that from Rafe. You heard me. That's and anything that makes it to Rafe. I hope it's that. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out with us while we did this Nynaeve Almira recap, theorizing of things. Yeah, sure, whatever. And just check out our YouTube stuff. We have a lot of videos in there, interviews with actors and crew from the Wheel of Time TV show, authors from Tor and other places, and obviously our rewatch stuff. Also, don't forget to go over onto the TikToks and check out Dragonmount over there, where Kitty is doing all kinds of nonsense. She's always in different costumes. Yeah. We never know who she's going to be, too. Is she going to be Lanfear? Is she going to be Rand, Perrin, Matt? She's everybody. And nobody? I don't know. Though we did, it's not just Crystal and I today. We also have our boss, who's usually with us on all of our rewatches.
He keeps us in line.
Yeah, he's right over here. I'm not going to wake him up, but he's right here. I don't want to wake him up. He's so cute. Anyway, he's our boss. But make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things, share this video, and leave comments. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you think of our theories. Maybe what some of your theories are. Do they align? Do they butt up against each other? Tell us. What did we get wrong? What did we get right? Gnomon Garden will usually tell us.
Oh, yes.
But, anything else, you just let us know. And I think that's all I got. You got anything else, Crystal?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, say goodnight.
Good night, Crystal.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for sticking around to the end. As always, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button or leave a comment. We like comments, especially positive ones. If you have a friend who enjoys the Wheel of Time, tell them about Dragonmount.com and our show. Special thanks to our show sponsor, Tor Books, as well as to our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about how our show is made and get additional insights into Wheel of Time, you can become a Patreon supporter. We have a lot of big plans for the show, and your contribution will go a long way to making them a reality. Be sure to follow Dragonmount on social media, and see you next time!